Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness. Business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve, Ramon, and Freddie. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. I am so thrilled to have you join us today. We're dedicated with this podcast to explore the idea of doing business in life with a purpose. We approach our lives and our work with truly a servant's heart. We can make a difference in your world. We created this show to motivate you, inspire you, and educate you to make that impact in your world so you can actually change your world. Funny subject, huh? Isn't that cool? We need to do more of that in this world. It's 2024. And if you listen to us in 2025, I hope you're still listening. Kind of half joke. But while you're listening to my incredible guest, this is part two. I love my part twos because we've already built this cool foundation. We're going to build right off finance and baseball, which is a cool little combination of subjects. I want you to think about how you're going to serve yourself today, how you're going to serve others today, and what impact will you create for yourself or for others or for both. And the key word is today. Don't wait for tomorrow. Let's start today and let's make an impact. And today's episode is proudly sponsored by our incredible partner, Pantheon Alliance. Imagine being part of an exclusive community of high-income, very successful owners and entrepreneurs from very diverse industries. Together, they're building a thought leader platform to impact and change the world. If you'd like to learn more about this community, reach out to me and I'll get you all the information. So impact in your world or the world can come in many forms, but not a lot of times when you say finances and baseball. I want to welcome Freddie to the show today. Finances and baseball, how'd that come about?
Well, no, I mean, that's pretty much all I do every day, Steve, is finance, baseball, and cheer competitions for my daughter. That's, it's basically a wealth advisor, then, and then once that's done, it's super duper Uber time and driving the kids around from different football practice to baseball practice or cheerleading, just, but it's, it's great. I wouldn't give up these days for anything.
Well, that's what a servant does as a parent, God bless you as a father, because I know it's a lot of work and a lot of time, but you're smiling and saying it because you really enjoy it. And seeing the growth of your kids and other kids that are part of these teams and cheer and all that. But what's interesting to me, and we talked a little bit about it on the last show, was you went from police officer to wealth advisor, completely two different worlds. How'd that come about?
Just wanting to get in. I always have been attracted to the financial world, and that's, went to college before, had just wanted to get into it, really wanted to change stuff. And especially when I started getting around wealthy people as a rookie police officer and having that aha moment where I can do this. I can become wealthy. I don't have to have, you don't have to be limited by, what people think, oh, this is it. And you work until your fingers are at the nubs, and then you get this cheesy 401k, and hopefully you don't run out of money before you die. There was always this one day mentality, right? It's almost like school, right? And like one day I'll be out of elementary school, be in middle school, then it's one day I'll be in high school, one day I'll be in college. So it was one day thing, right? And I felt like people were just going through all that with like their careers. Like one day I'll be able to retire. It's like this is a whole distant thing. And it's like, well, why can't you have the lifestyle you want now? Why do you have to wait 30 years? But also what steps do you need to take to actually achieve that kind of lifestyle now? And what kind of changes do you have to make? And that's my whole, going from the checkers mindset to the chess mindset. So by my 14th year, 13th year on the police force, I was, ready to change it up and do things, something different. And I had two careers for about 6, 7 years there, and it was tough, but it was still good.
Yeah, and you able to transition. And what's interesting, having police officers, a number of them on my show, 4 or 5, on the car it says serve and protect. So you really were a service agent as a police officer for those 14, 13, 14 years. Does that help you transition to wealth advisor?
Well, I was on the force for 20 years. So
Oh, 20 years.
I was doing two things for about 7 years, whatever that was.
Wow.
I lost
Yeah.
track there. My financial office was literally right across the police station. I would like run back and forth across the street.
What a crazy story. My God.
Yeah.
Keep going. This is great.
Yeah. So, but yeah, just helping my fellow police officers and firefighters retire and go through all that, and but really learning, how to become wealthy. And I was taking classes at University of Virginia, and going through my certs and all that stuff. But it was also around wealthy people, and I realized that, hey, these things aren't matching up, but I'm learning it, and this program is not, exactly what the wealthy are doing, right? So, and understanding that, and started to really hone in on that mindset, and that it's not about working 20 more hours or having a second job or whatever. It's about actually developing wealth, and helping clients do that now is it's very rewarding for me. That's what I enjoy the most. The money's great, but it's really about, for me, it's about helping people get to that next step of lifestyle, whatever that is to them, right? But especially going from that that checkers mindset to the chess mindset, that's huge.
So cool. And we'll jump into that again because we talked about it. But the emotional side of both of those, you're a police officer, you're taking people's care of their lives, a lot of emotion in that. But as a wealth advisor, you're dealing with people's money. Talk about emotions. And you said something very interesting. Wealthy people really don't know how to handle their finances. Some people, lottery winners is a perfect example. People come into wealth or get wealth. That's where you come in and go, hey, don't blow that millions of dollars. Let's help it grow and work with you for many years, right?
Yeah, it's if you're just handing money, it'll fall through your fingers like sand. You might have it for a little while, but eventually it's going through your fingers. So you need to understand how to make more, how to have that money continue, not just growing, but making more assets that create more money. And just and sticking it into some, just the market is probably not going to do it. And that's a tough thing for people to get over sometimes, is that the market doesn't create wealth the way people would like it to. We just had an all-time high, like 2, 3 weeks ago, and S&P, Dow, all-time highs. Do you know anybody who like all of a sudden just quit their jobs and started like buying boats and going on lavish vacations because the S&P was at a high, all-time high? No, right? And it's funny because it's true, and people just can't, they just force fed that information for so long, and it takes somebody like me to say, wait a second, if you want to have a chess lifestyle, you have to take chess actions.
Yeah, it's interesting because trading stocks is low-hanging fruit. There's Robinhood, there's Webull. I mean, you can jump on the internet, pull up an account, put $1,000 in. It's easy to get into, but like you said, it's not. You're not going to turn 1,000 into 10 million.
No, and and if you go on, I don't know, anything that you just mentioned, and you put the $1,000 in, right? Who did you just create income for? You created income for the investment companies that you gave the $1,000 to, and they're not waiting around 30 years for their compound interest, give them the wealth that they said. No, they're going to take that money and they're going to do something with it right now. The same thing with the banks, same thing with the insurance companies, same thing with all these financial institutions. But they're telling you, just hand it over and wait, pray for 30 years or 40 years, whatever it's going to take, and don't worry. This is my favorite line that I can't stand when my fellow financial advisors say, don't worry, you're in it for the long haul. Can't stand that phrase, because you know who's not in it for the long haul? Everybody you give your money to. So they're only telling you that you're in it for the long haul, while they're taking it and doing and creating wealth for themselves right now.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying
Yeah.
any of these, I'm not saying any of these products or investments are bad. I want people to do that. I just don't want them to stop there. If they have the chess mindset, I want them to do what the investment company is doing afterwards, what the insurance company is doing afterwards, what the bank is doing afterwards. It's just not going to be on the same scale, right? But having that mindset will change people's outlook, and probably their I don't know, man, probably the success rate too.
When I laugh, because when you say $1,000 and wait 30 years, I'm like, 30 years later, I'll be dead because I'm 60. Well, I'll be 93.
Yeah.
So I
Oh,
wake up at 93 and I got 1,030 in there. I've made
yeah.
$1 a year.
Cracks me up. I see that all the time on social media and what like that. It's like, if you invested $1,000 in 1956, the day that Mickey Mantle won the Triple Crown, you would have, well, no, you'd be dead, or you'd very likely be dead, right? So you wouldn't have any dollars because you're dead. So being able to create wealth now, and I'm not saying compound interest is bad. Like, no, it's math. It's irrefutable. It's a great thing. It's just that's not going to be the wealth vehicle for you. It's going to be part of it, but it's not going to be it. So yeah, I mean, that stuff just cracks me up. And
And the other side of that, we'll jump into chess and checkers because I love that, is the people who go, I just won the lottery, and they put $1 million in their savings account. When if I gave it to you, or gave you 800,000, you put 200,000 in, go crazy. What you could do with 800,000, I mean, I know what you could do.
Well, a scenario there is that if you had the $1 million, right, you took that $200,000 and you put it as a down payment on a small apartment building, and you borrowed $800,000 from the bank, and you use the cash flow from that investment property to go buck wild, whatever you want to do with it, whatever you want to do to enjoy life.
Interesting.
You'd probably do a whole lot better than if you just blew the $200,000 and now you have 8 left, right? Now that's the sand going through your fingers because you didn't create wealth.
And that's what the institutions would do. I really want to jump on that. That's what they're doing. They're buying property, land, and making passive money every month with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. You probably have stayed at a hotel that an insurance company owns, or, shopped at a shopping center that, some big financial institution owns. I mean, yeah. Or businesses, not, businesses in real estate, right? Because they have to amplify the money. They have to create income for themselves. And they're doing that. They're just doing it with the money that you gave them.
Monies. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to jump on chess and I keep saying this, but we also talked after our last show, wasn't on the show, about life insurance companies during COVID. Tell that story if you can. I think you can.
Okay.
It's fascinating to me, and I tell people this story to many people, so I'd love for the audience to hear.
Yeah, I think it just took a brash retired cop to just say this out loud. How in the world can the 3 top life insurance companies, now others as well, but the 3 biggest life insurance companies on the planet, which are New York Life, Northwestern Mutual, and Mass Mutual. They're the 3. They're top. They're huge, right? Conglomerates. How can they have their best years in 2020, 2021, and 2022? What they insure is life. Life is dying. CNN's got a scoreboard on every night during those years on how many people have died of COVID, right? And there's 2 logical explanations, but they're both wrong. One is they didn't pay out the claims. and they said, well, he died of COVID, and that's some, fine print stuff. That didn't happen. No, these are honorable companies. They paid out the claims. The second logical explanation is that, in 2020, everybody freaked out and so bought a whole bunch of life insurance on themselves. And then, everybody that they, could had insurable interest on, and they bought life insurance. And the premiums were so much that it canceled off all the claims that occurred from the deaths of COVID. That's not it either, right? I mean, the sales were higher, but they weren't like, oh my God. I mean, did you go out and running around buying life insurance on everybody you knew in 2020? No. So, but what they have done, and they've done an awesome job on it. I'm not like saying they have done anything wrong. I'm saying these companies have done everything right. They're just not doing what most people are doing, and that's that they're buying up real estate, they're buying investments, they're buying businesses, they're putting that money to work, and they've done such a great job that even a global pandemic, is like a BB at a freight train with them. It's not affecting them, So yeah, it's just something that I think is eye opening, because it's there, it's in black and white, and and I'm not saying these companies did anything wrong. They're great companies. We're partnered with some of them. But yeah, I want people to do what they're doing, not just what they're selling.
No, and it's interesting. 2021, 22 is, you had said, I'd like to add, is the hotel I stayed at owned by one of these companies. The restaurant I ate at, so I'm paying their coffers. Again, I agree with you. It's legal. It's right. It's a great business model. But it's interesting. You're taking that same model, going, Steve Ramona, with your $1 million, let's follow that type of model with you.
Right. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So we would do similar strategies that you're comfortable with. It's, and there's not one right way to skin the cat here. Some people would rather invest in businesses. Some people would rather invest in real estate. Some people in multifamily. Some people in single families. There's not one right way of doing this. There's, I would say there might be better ways, but yeah, people are just not asking the right questions, when they just kind of hand their money over to Wall Street, or any type of financial product, or be like, what is going on here, right? People don't even understand how banks truly work. When they bring their $1,000 to that bank, probably around $900 is going out the door to somebody like me that's borrowing your deposits to buy a piece of real estate or buy a business, or do something that's going to increase my wealth and the bank's wealth as well, because they're going to get the interest from that loan, right? And they're going to pay you very, very little.
Yeah.
And it's overt, right? It's on the board when you walk into the bank. They're not hiding anything. It's clear as day, right? So and again, I'm not saying that the banks are doing anything wrong. I'm just saying that most people are not doing what these institutions are actually doing on a smaller scale, right? So like, yeah, if you're playing Little League, you're playing Little League, and that's cool, right?
Yeah.
Then maybe you play high school ball, then you may play college ball, then you might get to the majors, but it's all the same game. It's on a different scale.
Yeah. So the audience is like, okay, Steve, get to the chess and checkers. You mentioned it 3 times. I love your analogy with that, chess and checkers with finances. Talk about how you came up with it and what it's all about.
Yeah, I was trying to think of, like, I didn't want to say anything was wrong. I don't say checkers is wrong, right? I think too many wealth advisor or financial pundits out there, especially if they're like hardcore chess players, they kind of like say, oh, checkers is, like, what I would call checkers is wrong. And no, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying it's checkers. Right. And you can be happy playing checkers. You can have a nice, standard average life, have an average retirement from a financial standpoint. You could be, but in that retirement, you could be super duper happy, not want what the chess player wants. Right. And that is totally okay. I just want you to know that you're playing checkers. And if you're playing checkers, you won't, by the time you're done with my book, you won't be screaming at the moon, why do the rich keep getting richer? And that you'll understand why, because you're playing a totally different game. So checkers is fine, and if you don't have your stuff together, if you don't have your, if you're not in a good financial shape, you should play checkers, right? You should get your checkers game together first before, if you switching over to chess. It's gonna be really difficult to go straight into chess. But once you have that good foothold, and if you want to, improve to the chess game, then there's going to be a different set of, not rules, just different attitudes. When you're playing checkers, you see debt as a bad thing, terrible, don't be in any debt. If you're playing chess, you're like, I love debt, I want to be in as much debt as possible. So even just right there, that one word has two totally different connotations when we're talking about the two different games, right? And I would say that's the biggest differentiator, in my opinion, if you're moving over to chess.
Yeah.
But chess is what the wealthy play, and now in the news right now, you're hearing all about these tax advantages that the wealthy have been using for, I don't know, seems like forever. And but people still can't understand this idea of debt being a good thing. Meanwhile, they're like, it's the way to become super duper wealthy, using it correctly. Using it incorrectly, you're going to burn to the ground,
no matter what.
right? Yeah. So it's kind of like fire in that aspect.
And that's where an advisor comes in too, to make sure if you're playing checkers, you're playing by the checkers strategy. Playing chess, you're playing by this chess strategy.
And you're playing them well. If you're going to play checkers, I want you to be a damn good checkers player. Yeah. Nothing sucks more than being a bad checkers player.
Yeah.
You will get your butt whooped by capitalism if you're a bad checkers player. If you're going to play checkers, I want you to play it well. But if you're going to switch over to chess, there can be a I don't know, any euphoria to it. I don't know how else to really explain that. Like where you want to go too far too fast. Going fast is great when you're controlled, but if you're doing 210 miles an hour down the road, too fast, one slip up and you're in the woods, right? So you want to go make sure you're at a safe pace for you, I would say.
Right.
And but still progressing.
Yeah. I mentor entrepreneurs or business owners. We talk about growing, usually to 1 million, then 1 million or more is scaling. Is that kind of chess and checkers? Checkers, you might be growing your account and you're scaling with chess. You grow much faster. I could be wrong.
You're scaling, but you're doing it from a position of strength.
Okay.
Instead of a position of weakness. So when you're playing checkers, I always feel like you're in a, not always, but a lot of times you're in a position of weakness, right? So like even this idea of like, I'm a millionaire, what the hell's that mean? Right? You have $500,000 in a 401k and you have $500,000 of equity in your home, right? Now, and let's say you have no debt on the home. That's like, now you're a millionaire. You can, what can you do? Nothing, right? You're going to work tomorrow. That's what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not liquid. Yeah.
That is not, I would not consider that, just because you're qualified as a checkers millionaire, that you have financial independence. Because again, you're going to work tomorrow. But
good point. Good point.
If you have if you're let's say you're a chess person, you're a chess player, and you have, $1 million and, of assets, and it's, your assets are paying you, I don't know, $20,000, $15,000 a month. I'm making numbers up right now. Like even $10,000 a month, right? $120,000. Well, you could not work. You might have to go to an area of the country that $120,000 could live a little bit larger, but it's a totally different thing, because the focus is on the income in chess. It's not on the value of the assets, which is the checkers thing. I have X amount of dollars in my, retirement accounts or whatever. It's on income. Income is what makes you wealthy, right? Because if a checkers player, in my example, lost their jobs tomorrow, you're not getting a lot of money out of the 401k, and you're not getting any money out of the equity of your home, you're in trouble, right?
That's a great
So
point. That's a servant's heart, because you're looking at practically what it really is, not the overblown I'm a millionaire. And that's where I know an advisor like you is a big support to somebody with a lot of money. I tell people all the time that come into wealth, I got to hire somebody. I don't want to. No, you got, because I don't know. I mean, I've had my advisor 15 years. I still go to her. Hey, what do I do here? Because I'm not going to go to my mechanic to do heart surgery on me. I think I said on the last show.
right.
Hey, I'm going to come to you for my wealth. Hey, you can do wealth. Let's see what we can do and rock and roll, right?
And the rules are like endless. Like I mean, I'm on my treadmill 2 hours a day, keeping up with rules. So unless you're doing that, and keeping up with strategies and all that stuff, unless you're professional, you're working on it all day, every day. I mean, it's like the rules are huge, right? Like, I know football, right? I know 10 yards is the first down. You have 4 plays to get the 10 yards, 6 points, touchdown, 1 point, extra point, 2 point safety, 2 point, conversions. I understand football, but I'm not going to have an intelligent conversation with Bill Belichick about football. I'm just not going to. No. Bill Belichick knows football inside and out, right? So that's the kind of, like, you can have working knowledge of finances. That doesn't mean you should just handle your own finances.
Especially when you get in the millions. I mean, you got a few thousand, you want that. That's different. The book, I know Chess and Checkers is part of the book. Anything more you want? What's the name of the book, and add to any more information about the book?
Sure. The book is called Playing the Wealth Game. It's you can get on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, you can get it anywhere. It's a self-discovery book. That's how I like to describe it. Because I want people to find out whether they are a checkers player or a chess player, and what's going to work for them, and have them understand, what the wealthy do, right? And what the middle class does, and why it's difficult if you're staying in that, what I would call a middle class mindset, right? It's very difficult to get ahead. It's very difficult to expand and get to the levels that a chess player is able to achieve. But also, just there's risks on both sides, right? So understanding what your risk levels are is, of course, very important. And you can be happy. That's the other thing. Like, you can what's going to make you happy? And whether you're I say this in the book, whether you're laughing at a backyard barbecue in like a small home, or you're laughing on a big old yacht, like, you're happy because you're laughing, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's important too.
I love that you mentioned risk, because that's a big thing that an advisor needs to help. You got to understand that. If you don't, that's what I get beat into me all the time with my, in a good way, advisor. What's your risk today? What's your risk this year? What are we going to do to move forward? And I love that you said that, because that's an outside looking in, because risk is so mindset that you think, I know my risk. And the next thing you know, your $1 million is gone. Like, how'd that happen? Well, you didn't risk manage. So I love what you do. And I always tell audience, I'm going to say this, a guy like Freddie, you want to reach out to them. If you don't have an advisor, or you're not happy with your advisor, please do that. Because when you lose it all, I've talked to too many people, it is devastating. And you've probably heard people have lost it all as well. Let's finish with a great question. So you've got a reservation at a restaurant. You got 4 seats. You're sitting in one of the seats. Dead or alive, who would you invite in the other 3 seats?
Oh, I think you asked me this one last time. You got another one?
Yeah, let's do another one. Okay. So I've reserved a Learjet. Okay. It's a small jet with 4 seats. You sit, of course, in one of the seats. The other 3 seats, who would you invite and where would you fly?
Oof. Dead or alive? Mother Teresa.
Hmm.
Um, you know, yeah, I think, Jesus Christ, of course, but I think it's too easy. So I'm going to try to pick another one here. My grandfather,
Hmm.
just so we could talk about like where, you know, like how the family has progressed over the generations, and see how he likes that. We have another seat, right? One more seat.
One more seat.
Oof. Man, anybody in history? That's that's tough. Hmm.
And it could be alive too. Somebody you respect now.
Oh, all right. Well, then my wife.
There you
Yeah.
go.
So,
So, and by the way, Jesus would probably be a co-pilot. So we had a fifth seat. We want Jesus as the
true.
co-pilot. How
Yeah.
about that,
Just in
huh?
case the plane's
I'm with
going
you
down.
there.
I mean, there's no one that's going to be better, right?
I love it. So where are we going? Where are we flying to?
Oh, we're flying. Hmm. Uh, I don't know. I think maybe we'll fly to Calcutta, and we'll fly
Oh,
to we'll have Mother Teresa take us around and really make us appreciate what we
amen.
have. All these
Yeah,
things that I've talked about over the past 20 minutes. These are first world problems, right?
that's so true.
And
That's great.
if you make $30,000, I think you're in the top 5% of the world's income. Like, and so just yeah, you got to be happy about things. And if you're happy about where you are, I think it's easier to gain more. No matter
Amen.
where you are.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Freddie. Part two is even better than part one. It usually happens that way, but this was great. Great information. And audience, reach out to them. How can they support you or reach out to you and connect with you?
They can go to the website optafinancial.com. It's OPTA financial.com if they want to schedule a complimentary consultation in the top right hand corner. That's the easiest way to get a hold of to talk to me. Calendly runs my life now. I mean, that's I own the firm, and
Amen.
Calendly's the boss. And I encourage people to pick up the book. It's on Audible now, so that's good. Um, and just encourage people to think outside the box. Don't just buy what people are telling you. Like, let's look how people are moving too, right?
Yeah.
Is your advisor actually doing the things that they're telling you to do? Are they even do they even have a lifestyle that you would want to
Yeah.
have, right? There's a
Yeah.
lot of out of shape personal trainers out there as far as financial advisors go,
Yeah.
right? So it's kind of like, you know what? I don't think I'm going to take my personal training from you because you aren't in a great place.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean they're a bad person either. So, but yeah,
No, I
but you
love this.
don't also have to be Mr. Olympia to be a good personal trainer in the analogy, right?
There you go. Yep.
You just have to be in some sort of shape, like look the part a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the key. Look and play the part and be smart about it. And jump on your treadmill for 2 hours and learn all about the rules, which I love. And audience, comment on the YouTube channel. I didn't say this before with Freddie, but if you have comments for him, I'll get them to him. Critique this show, good or bad. Love that because it's all about you, how it can help you, how me and Freddie can help you get more educated, inspired, and motivated. Share this subscription with other people. Subscribe yourself. Share this show with other people. If you got people with financial problems, hey, he just gave out a complimentary call. Jump on a 15-minute call. Will you hire him or not? Maybe he's going to give you one or two tips like he did on the show, and it could change your lives. I've known many wealth advisors like Freddie that can really help you out and life changing because money can be life changing in both ways, good or bad. And as always, me and Freddie, thank you so much for watching or listening to this podcast. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.